Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I'll also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site, and on Patreon for extra support. And any kind of updates and the such I usually go about on Twitter X. And today we don't have a gaming an active gameplay series on, but I will try to get around and see if I can manage or doing an extra video, because there are some topics that I like to focus on instead of just mixing in on the program here, or I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about on Elden Ring, some theories here and there that might be interesting, but I need to try to think how I can uh, go about and tackle those theories there. But yeah, other than that, just keep your eyes on my Twitter when I can do some live streams. It's been a while since I managed to do a live stream, but yeah, pretty busy lately, but I will try to do so. I really need to try and get things working on that sense so I can be prepared for the DLC. But yeah, let's go to the news. Nvidia slashes prices on China's special GPUs. Again, yeah, this is one of the consequences of governments try to sanction and go about doing also those kind of bans and make companies to do some trickery, let's say, to avoid those bans. We saw that basically with the 4090 in terms of the consumer market. Again, this is mainly goes about on the bans from USA to China, sales of chips, mainly for the Grace Hoppers, the AI accelerator stuff there. But it affects some consumer products, namely the RTX 4090, given that it has a huge power points in performance, how they classify that. And they had to cut down. They had to launch the 4090D Dragon kind of a thing, if not mistaken. But yeah, by the fact that then when the country, in this case China, is being the target of this kind of sanctions, and if they are going to get stifled products, in the sense that is like cut down versions of the products themselves, and the fact that they have a huge industrial capabilities, China is turning to their own in-house manufacturing on this chip, and basically if you're not going to sell us the proper thing, just going to sell us a cut down version and almost at the same price, because in the case of the 4090D it was being sold at the same price that a 4090, almost around $2,000, mainly because of constraints on inventory and all that jazz. Yeah, and the fact that in the overall scheme of things, the companies were turning into in-house manufacturing, especially from UI. Yeah, they were. Nvidia is forced to cut down the prices there, mainly because they need to sell, given that until recently between around 17 to 20% of the revenue it comes from the Chinese market, which is a lot. If you given that 70% of its revenue for the fiscal year of 2024, if the next fiscal year they just cut down 70% of this revenue, it's going to be a huge blow, given that Nvidia, with the AI bubble to a certain extent, is being I think it's now they reach like $1,000 per share, something stupid crazy like that. Yeah, it will make a huge tumble if they don't manage to sell the products that they have in the Chinese market. But yeah, this is what happens. I don't know what to tell you. This is one of the things that supposedly usually happens. If it was the other way around, I will assume again that USA in terms of in-house production, it doesn't fare very well. It relies all the American multinational companies that manufacture chips. They depend hugely from Taiwan. from TSMC mainly. That there are other manufacturers, but all of them are basically in Taiwan, the high-end chip manufacturers there, which to a certain extent it is recognized, and they consider themselves parts of China, with some caveats there. But yeah, the overall thing is the companies that are going to be they are forced basically to cut down prices, and I will someday, for them to be more competitive, they are going to cut down prices more than they want to, for sure. Especially with Nvidia, given that I think we're still seeing from time to time 4090s reaching around almost $2,000 still here and there, mainly because of this move that they had to do, basically trying to push, before the ban started, to push all the 4090 inventory to China, and with that the inventory on other markets was lower, so the prices had to be increased to around that mark there. And yeah, the money can taste good, but when they have these kind of constraints, it will soon run out. It's like kind of a sugar rush there, and now they are faced with this situation here, which is not good. Yeah, again, this also impacts AMD in terms of their sales there, but the effect on in the case of consumer market, I don't think it affects even the high end, and I don't think it will even affect the RDNA 4 in terms of the consumer market, mainly because they going about to maintain kind of the same performance on below the 7900 XTX. Regarding the 5000 series from Nvidia, they're trying to go and sell cut down versions of those GPUs for the consumer market. It's not going to fall very well. I think that might be an opportunity here for AMD to sell more on especially take advantage of the Chinese market, how it is with this kind of sanction stuff there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's not going to go pretty good. Again, sanctions, it's a very short gains strategy here. It might stifle a little bit in the short term, but in the long term, especially with a country like China, which has a huge manufacturing market there, in-house manufacturing, this is not going to fall pretty good on the American companies. They are trying to sell cut down versions of their products there. But yeah, it is what it is. And continuing a little bit with that, similarly, Samsung's high bitrate memory 3E, again, it's always difficult to with these acronyms here. Supposedly the memory fails to pass Nvidia qualification, and supposedly one of the main things is excessive heat and power issues. Yeah, this is also not good, given that Samsung is a South Korean market, so it's friendly country to US, so it's not doesn't get involved in this kind of sanctions games here. But yeah, they similarly are not able to manufacture at the standards that Nvidia wants to them to do the products. At least for now, this is like sampling stuff, so it's trying sending prototypes, probably getting some feedback and see what they can probably improve here and there. Or this is also a little bit on a game of trying to lower the prices for the ordering of the mass quantity of memory that they will need for the GPUs and all the other products that Nvidia has to launch there. Again, I don't know. I think it's a mixed there, because they also have the pressure from XQ Enix, which is part of the, again, I always forget to check this situation, but I think XQ Enix, it's an integration from AMD. It was acquired a few years ago, if not mistaken, that they just specialize in memory stuff, memory chips there. Even then, even though the Samsung, this kind of HBM3E, so high memory bandwidth, something like that, they're being sold to manufacture the MI300X accelerators from AMD. So yeah, I think there is like a mix of some stuff here. Again, I assume they are not able to, at this moment in time, reach the highest standards from Nvidia, but yeah, they are able to at least sell some of those to other companies that maybe in a lower price. I'm not sure, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. Also, at this moment in time, again, this is not good coming this kind of information because other manufacturers might be more reticent to take advantage of the Samsung memory stuff there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they will. I think it is a little bit on the process manufacturing side, trying to manufacture with better yields on the products there, and hopefully they will get around this situation, because again, in any industry, competitiveness is the best for everybody. Regarding gaming news, not much happening here, at least that I want to cover on this program. Supposedly Doom, the next Doom game, will be announced in this Xbox showcase thingy. Supposedly it's called Doom the Dark Ages. Again, a very revealing title. Supposedly we'll have like a medieval inspired Doom world. Again, I think, yeah, I think I didn't play any of the Doom games, at least the recent ones. I'm curious to play and see how that goes. Seems that they are single player first person shooters, even though like first person shooters really not that much my thing there, but if it has an interesting story, I might give it a try. Probably when one of those games, when it on sale, maybe I will buy it and probably do a gaming series on that to see how it goes. But yeah, we got one of the updates. Yeah, given that the main update might be that it will come as a multi-platform game, Doom, which is interesting given that their Xbox strategy people already said that they are going to use some specific games to try and go multi-platform day one to see how it goes in terms of the performance there. And I assume they will compare between, for example, if you launch between Xbox and PlayStation 5 to see how it compares in terms of sales. Again, I don't believe a lot of people, or the majority of people, have both consoles there, so I think it's a good case for exploring the multi-platform launch. Again, I assume they are forced to do this because, again, one of the main issues that we have with gaming production at this moment in time is the budget inflation, or inflated budgets, not inflation, but inflated budgets that they have for the games. I will assume those inflated budgets mainly have to do a lot with the fact that they have a lot of bloat in terms of resources they have to use. Again, some of them might be with the acronym mafia stuff there that has to be introduced in a lot of games, and with that comes not only the fact that you have to introduce, but you have to have an infrastructure to introduce them, like consultants and people inside the dev teams, as we know that happens in some teams, development teams in some companies, and that by and large will ramp up a little bit the budget at least. And of course the fact that these games take a lot of time, around 4 to 5 years in the best case scenario for the games to be produced and launched. Again, that makes the budget themselves also a little bit inflated, which is not good. And I think they need to find a new strategy of getting a little bit smaller teams, or try to reduce a little bit the teams there, cut the fat on non-essential persons to make a game, and don't overthink too much on the acronym mafia, trying to reduce a little bit of the interest rate, but then you're going to use that cut down that percentage of the interest rate to pay for the consultants and pay for the other people that are basically non-essential, especially on the creative side, on the creative process of the game there. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And for that, they have to launch multi-platform, because again, for them to, with these inflated budgets, you need to sell more copies of the game itself, and with that you can only do so at this moment in time, especially in the Xbox side of things, because they have the Game Pass stuff. If they launch this on Game Pass, which I will assume they will, when the game comes out, they are cut down from the initial sales bump that they could have. It's cut down because it's diluted on the Game Pass situation there, and for that they have to recoup, in the case of Xbox, on other platforms, namely PC and PlayStation. But yeah, this is the situation at this moment in time. Let's see how this goes. I hope the game is good, at least at the same line that the other two Doom games were, because from what I see, the feedback is at least positive on both of them as an average, at least on the PC side. Yeah, we hopefully they are good and they sell well. If the games are good, I always hope that the games sell at least well enough to pay for themselves. But yeah, they are on a tight on a tight schedule and tight financial constraints there, regarding all of these little things that accumulate for the Xbox platform. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We got some things, given that I think a new Mad Max movie came out, Furiosa or something like that, and there were again, somebody probably asked Tim Miller, I forgot his first name, which doesn't matter. Tim Miller, it's not Tim Miller. I don't remember his first name. God damn it. Yeah, I don't remember his first name. The director of the first three movies, and then Mad Max Fury Road, and then this new movie that came out. Somebody probably asked him what he thought about the game that was launched through Avalanche in 2015, the Mad Max game, open world game. Supposedly, it was not in line with their vision. Again, given that usually a movie has a more focus on narrative, and given that Avalanche is very well known for open world games, I think there was at least a miscommunication between the developer team, again Avalanche, and the publisher, and the what the vision of the Miller guy, director, was regarding that. And this sparks mainly because of Miller wanted to Hideo Kojima to make an awesome Mad Max game, which of course is going to be, if something like this happens, for sure it will be like a completely different experience, given that Hideo Kojima does do things in its own way, and I think it will be a very interesting one, trying to tackle that story and that narrative thread through there, and gamify a little bit the some of the things that you could do. Again, it will not something like Death Stranding. You have to do something very different, the way you can approach that, but it will be, not regardless, it will be very interesting. And this Christopher Sandberg, which was the Avalanche Studios founder, got a bit salty there, but yeah, he basically told that again, given that they supposedly pitched an open world game, Mad Max game, and then all the materials and the feedbacks, and basically they were throwing away stuff, basically hoping for a more linear approach in the game there. But yeah, and the fact that they had supposedly at the time some pressure to launch this game, this specific Mad Max game, at the same day that Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain was launched. Again, the comparisons there are not good, because the way Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain, approaches open world kind of, or open areas, because there are two main areas, how it approaches in terms of gameplay and the story and how things are told there, it's completely different from Mad Max for sure. I think Mad Max is more similar like Just Cause, so you got an open world where you have like a playground to go about and try to do some activities here and there, and exploration and all that jazz, while Metal Gear Solid managed to try to arrange a narrative, a thread line, and use a mission structure to tell that story there. and again with a very unique way that Hideo Kojima does. And I played Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain like 200 hours or more. I managed to finish the game and do a lot of the side stuff. Didn't manage to go through to all S ranking things there, but yeah, it's very addicting, the gameplay loop that he did there with the mission stuff, and the replayability that you can go about doing things, and that like the bonuses that you do to get things done in the same mission done in a very specific way or a different way that you did before. But yeah, all of that aside, yeah, got a little bit salty, got some comments there, complained that there was a lot of awesome DLC. Again, we never saw this DLC, so we have to take his word for it. That should be launched for this game, but because poor sales and everything, again, you're comparing yours. This is part of the publisher's fault. If you want to launch, especially at that time, specifically at that time when there was a huge amounts of expectations, and for sure people that had money were just waiting for Phantom Pain to release. So yeah, Mad Max game was completely overshadowed by this game, even though again it's kind of an incomplete game in terms of the narrative perspective. Metal Gear Solid 5, again, it had its own issues between Konami and Kojima at the time, but yeah, yeah, they were basically forced to launch at the same time MGS, which is not good by any comparison itself. But yeah, this is what I got, some little bit kind of a drama here. And lastly, I'm just going to run through here that the Stellar Blade, again, I'm not following that closely the Stellar Blade thing, mainly because it's at this moment in time is a PS5 exclusive, but the points that matter here is it's the overall thing regarding what is promised to customers and then what it's delivered to customers. Being an outfit or more revealing outfit or a more sexy outfit, or in the case, let's say Cyberpunk, features and gameplay marketing that was delivered at the time before the launch, promising like climbing walls and using certain kind of gameplay features that were not launched at the launch of the game there, and the backlash that ensued. That people tend to forget a little bit that situation specifically with Cyberpunk, and the uproar and the fact that the game was not in conditions to be launched at that time. But yeah, it's what it's promised and what it's delivered. Given that, again, we have plenty of reasons to believe that there was a pressure from a PlayStation to alter, or in this case censor, because the way that it was pre-showed these outfits, after I think there was some stuff on the if you bought the physical edition, on the disc version there was like an outfit that after the day one patch was applied, the outfits were altered, and then again, the Shift Up, which is the name of the studio, of the developer studio, they basically altered that with the excuse it was more in line with their vision, even though they promised there will be no alterations from the marketing materials they were presenting in terms of the visual aesthetic of things. Yeah, people were not happy, and they just wanted things as they were promised. Again, you're selling a product with the promise of being one thing, and then you're censoring because you altered something. And yeah, this came about with Grumps doing the petition there, Free Stellar Blade, and the fact that now this latest patch for this game has introduced the altered versions or the original versions of those outfits, in addition to the censor ones, let's say. Yeah, I think it's a victory, because again, there is something that people don't get that well, is the way you have to approach certain things and how you take your small victories, let's say. And Rom said it well. Again, this is let's say a Japanese, North Korean, sorry, a Korean studio, and there is a mentality behind how they proceed in the corporate world. Also in Japan, same thing there. You have to take a different approach with just shouting and demanding and screaming. It will not make things better for you to get your way out of it. He said you have to approach things in a way that gives an exit to, let's say, the studio, in this case Shift Up, can make the changes that you want and give them a way out of the situation by saving a little bit the face there. But yeah, I think it's a victory. The petition is still up. I think like 1 day or so. It will still be sent after these alterations be made, basically as a gesture of uncensored, let's say, or add more suits, because I think the suits have some attributes there in terms of the characters attributes there. I think it does some stuff there. It has some gameplay utility, not only visual utility or visual appeal. But yeah, it will be sent, and basically this can be considered a win, mainly because of how the other persons reacted to it negatively. A lot of they make a thing of think from Forbes there with Paul Tassi or something like that. This how the salt flows and how he reacted to this situation of the fact that SkillUp did manage to introduce these extra suits as the uncensored versions of the suits there. Yeah, I think it's a win. Mainly, my main take on this, my personal take, is the fact that they promised something and they changed it after the launch, after people bought the game, and now they are reverting back to a certain way and trying to let them save a little bit of face, but at least people get what they wanted, or at least what it's promised them to them. This is nothing something that they were that was not promised. Basically, that's the main thing is if you promise something that you're going to deliver, you have to deliver the goods as you promised there, or else it's people will feel cheated on that way. But yeah, if you're still if you're still able and want to, you can go to Grum's Twitter, and he has a pinned tweet with a link for free stellar bait petition there. But yeah, basically that's it regarding the news. I will just going for the deals here. We got Dave the Diver, again, very excellent game. It's one of those that I want to try one of these days, but it's very it's a very long game in the sense that it is yeah, it's a management game, so you're going to spend some time there, but yeah, it's one of those that I want to try out. And it's 25% off on the base game. We got Liza P. It's still on offer for 30% off until the end of the month. We got Stray, 44% off. We got Cocoon, 40% off. I think this is a very kind of mind-blowing kind of puzzle game here, how the mechanics work out. And of course, he won some awards last year, so it's always good to check this game. We got also Dome Keeper. Again, this is kind of roguelike, tower defense kind of a game here with different ways to approach the scenarios there, and it's 60% off. And again, they usually do or weekly or monthly kind of challenges there, so they mix up a little bit the things there, so it's always some variety there for you to keep on playing this game. We got also the Callisto Protocol. Again, I think it's a little bit better, even though I think there is not going to be extra support for this game. I think the DLC is all launch, if not mistaken. And yeah, I think the main gripe with everybody, it's seems that the story ends up in a cliffhanger, so there is no like defined arc there. I think there is something that they were trying to work on the sequel as soon as they could, but again, Tim Miller, or again, I always butcher names, the head of the studio Craftcon, they just went away, and I'm not sure how who is going to develop the second game, if anybody. But yeah, similarly, very interesting. Again, I think also people were expecting more Dead Space-like kind of a combat, which I think they focus more on the melee side of things, even though you got weapons to use. But I think that the main focus is like very close combat instead of what we had with Dead Space. We got also Marvel's Midnight Suns, again, from the same guys that did XCOM 2, with a twist on being a deck building game. Again, very interesting game. I watched the Christopher Odd's Dark Hunter Path, where you choose everything Dark Path related. Yeah, very interesting and very addicting, especially on the gameplay side there. And yeah, 75% off, I think is an excellent deal here for what it is. On GOG, we got System Shock Remake, 55% off. Again, this is like a remake, pixel by pixel almost, of the original one. So, and it is very well praised, and it has a lot of positive feedback on this game. We got the Evil Within franchise, which is only 2 games because Tango Gameworks was closed. But yeah, still pretty good game, especially at this price point. Again, very different variation on the horror franchise there. And I quite enjoy it, and I managed to get around and do some gameplay series on both of these games. We got also Voidbusters, again, highly recommended from me. I played this game, I did a gameplay series. If you're hesitant, you just might watch like a couple of the first episodes to get a feel for the game there, but I do really recommend this game, especially at this price point. We got 25% off on War Tales. Again, pretty good game, similar to Jagged Alliance, kind of a gameplay style with squad management, exploring, doing missions and all that jazz. And again, got the story related to the game itself. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good one, at least from what I've been seeing. And yeah, it's one of those that I will try out in the future, again, when I have time to include it on my active gameplay series. And lastly, we got the Wolfenstein saga, which is the 2-pack. So the Old Blood, I think, and Wolfenstein the New Order, and then you got Wolfenstein 2 the New Colossus. This is the digital deluxe edition with all the DLC, pretty cheap, 85% off. And this duology, it's 75% off on the historical in terms of timeline of the first 2 games. But yeah, this is what I got for you today. I will see how I go about the rest of the day to see if I do a video focused on other news that I saw that I think it needs to be tackled with a dedicated video, or if I'm going to go about trying to record an Elden Ring theory here, depending on the subject. But yeah, I have to think a little bit through to see how it goes and tackle that video. I don't want it to be that long. I really start rambling or rant around the theory and go off tracks there, but this is how I usually do my videos. I just think what I want to say, press record, and go about business. But yeah, this is what I got. I'm just going to wrap up with a plug on my Patreon for extra support. The extra support is mainly for me at this moment in time to get around and have a storage solution for me to be able to get backups of the stuff that I do for my clients, and also some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.